Alright guys, well, it's a little bit of a chilly, snowy day, but I'm here at the shop because I need a piece of equipment. At the shop. This is what I'm here to grab. The problem I'm having is that's one of my employees' vehicles. He borrowed a truck for the weekend to move into a new house, and I can't get any of this stuff out. So while I wait for him to respond, we'll take a walk through here. And now, what do we got here? The whole load star. Looking good. I need to, take some pictures or something, so. Hopefully he gets back with me so I can get this thing loaded up, get back home, and get to work, right? I wait for him to get here. I'll show you. Here's what we're hauling. I would just take another machine, but I don't feel like dropping this and grabbing another trailer and getting a bigger machine. I want to use this little machine for what I got going on. But this is a new little trailer we picked up. I picked it up about 2-3 weeks ago. A little Diamond C 12-foot tilt deck. I actually bought it for this machine on purpose. Yeah, like it was on accident, right?
Oh, hell, Ricky, I was high when I said that. But that doesn't make any sense at all.
So, let's open the valve up there, release the pin, and no ramps. We just stand on it. There we go. Ready to load, right? Pretty sweet, huh? All right, well, I'm gonna sit in the truck where it's warm and wait for him to get here. Well, he's almost here, so we'll get this thing fired up and warming up. Give her a little preheat. It is somewhat chilly. So, y'all might be asking, what is this project, Rob? What do we got going on? What are you working on now? I saw the title of the video, said L9000. Yeah, So what we need that thing for is, I'll show you. And this is another one of those times, guys, when I keep telling you over and over that trying to get through this hobby of working on semis, working on cars alone, let alone semis, is not a cheap one. Well, let me show you what I got. So here's what we're working with. Some of you already know from looking at this what we got. We got an empty bag. That doesn't bode well. I'm hoping that just had these bolts in it. But let's see what those are. Those are important. And if you can't tell already, this is a fifth wheel rebuild kit. It's the full rebuild kit. It's everything we need. It's a shank. There's our lock jaws. So the backstory is, there's that big boy. Now, real quick before I get into the backstory, does this look like $700? Yeah, it doesn't to me either. But that's what it is, believe it or not. So that's what I was getting at there. Is this is not a cheap hobby, fellas. It's a pricey one. So the backstory is, earlier this week I hauled that semi trailer that I picked up, that 42-foot flatbed. I hauled it up 50 miles, about an hour, a little more away. So had towed up for blast and paint. So I I plated the L9000. I plated the trailer, got everything back on insurance, took a ride, and I had a problem going back even farther. I had a problem when I was trying to free up those tandems. If you saw my YouTube short on that. And what I didn't show you, or anybody, is at one point while I was pulling forward trying to get those tandems to slide back, I was working it hard, but that trailer came off the fifth wheel. I've adjusted this fifth wheel a couple times now. I also had once this past summer where the gooseneck came off on me too. And again, it was when I was doing a tug test, and at first I thought maybe I didn't have this thing lashed right. I don't have a ton of experience with big rig style fifth wheels. I've pulled camper fifth wheels, but it's a little different. Well, it's not just me. That fifth wheel's clapped out. The plate itself is okay. I don't see any major problems with that. But the hardware is clapped out. If you remember, that came off of that Pete 362 that I got the cutoff from. That truck had 700,000 or 800,000 miles on it at least. And that could be 1.7, to be honest with you, because that was a second-hand truck, probably a fourth-hand truck, to be honest with you. And it was an old truck. It was an 84, I believe. So we're talking some old hardware here. It could easily be the original hardware that Holland Hitch put on back in 1983 or 1984 when they built that fifth wheel. What I noticed this week pulling that trailer up was, the tug test proved fine. She was good to go, but it's got slop. You can feel it. And after having had the trailer come off on me twice with this fifth wheel, I got a little nervous, to be honest with you, pulling that thing. Any big bump, any kind of tug on a shift, I don't like that feeling. So decided that it was time to spend the $700. There are cheaper fifth wheel rebuild kits out there, not for this hitch. So the FW35 kit, which is the newer style of this hitch, takes you down to the $500 range, depending on how much wholesale you're paying. There's a couple kits out there for different Holland hitches that are down in the high 300s to low 400s range. This one is potentially the most expensive kit that Holland makes, and it is what it is. This fifth wheel is discontinued. This is the 3500 series. This is an FW3501. The FW35 is the newer version that's still in production of this hitch. It is what it is. It's the one I got. I could spend $1,800 on a brand new hitch, solve all the problems, nice and easy. It's a lot of money. It's a lot more money. I could also look for something used, just switch the hitch altogether. I've seen them at auction. I could have picked up some Jost hitches at auction here in the last week or two for $50. The problem is, why were they taken off of a truck? Likely it's not because they were brand new and perfect. It's probably because they were worn, or they were on trucks that got scrapped, or you name it. You might get lucky, you might not. So why go to all that trouble of finding a hitch, going to pick it up, taking it off potentially, getting it home and finding out I got to put a rebuild kit in anyway. This way I don't have to pull the mounts, I don't have to do framework, I don't have to do paint work. I got 2 big pins I got to pop out. I can bring the hitch inside the shop and I can rebuild it and I can be done with it knowing that it's essentially back to brand new. So that's what we're going to So we're in the shop, and just before I even get started, just to see if I'm barking up the right tree, I want to go ahead and I'm going to mic, so that's one of the jaws. We're about 1.97, 1.975, 1.98 we get right there on the mic. And I just want to see if, like I say, am I barking up the right tree here? With sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed, holding the camera. There's the flip side of that jaw. Wowzers. There you go. That's what we're working with there. So when we go out on this, so we should be at 1.98, and it's really wallered right at the edge, but we're at 2.116. Yeah, so, what is that? We're talking an 1/8 of an inch plus there. And, the other one looks just as whopped there on that. So that's definitely where our slop is. Most of it's probably in that jaw, but this cam wears too. I mean, shoot, if you look right there. Right there, see that double whop out? That's wear in the cam plate. That's probably what's letting it release more than anything, to be honest with you. This jaw here, this collar, this big U-shaped collar, that should be tight to the sides, and we're not. So we'll have to see how the new one fits. Watching some tutorials from SAF Holland, I may have to add some weld to the new one so it's tight against that, as this plate itself wears. So I don't see issues with the plate itself. I think we're in reasonable shape there. So we'll get this thing disassembled and cleaned up and get after it. So there's a process on this, and I'm not really intending on this video to be a DIY for anybody on how to rebuild their fifth wheel. Quite frankly, there are plenty, like really good, very detailed videos out there from SAF Holland all over YouTube and all over the web, with their techs and their engineers showing you how to do this. So I'm not gonna even attempt to be a resource for anybody on that. I'm gonna get it done and I'm gonna watch their videos. So obviously you can see this is a greasy, nasty mess. So I got to get the old rubber gloves on, and I'm gonna have my phone. Quite frankly, I video on my phone. I'm not a fancy enough YouTube channel to have a GoPro. So I got to be able to use my phone to watch this dang video, and I'll bring you back maybe when I got it disassembled, and then again as we're going through reassembly, but not going to get hyper involved with it. Looking at the whole rest of the big picture, these mounting holes, I don't know if you guys can see, those are slightly egged. They're not bad, but they are egged out a little bit. And then going out though on these bushings, if we go back outside here, boy, truck looks funny without a fifth wheel. They're not in horrible shape, but they're not in the greatest. You know, the rubber's failing on the edges. That one's not too bad in terms of wear. You know, it's starting, it's egging, and it's, you know, bushing's kind of mucked up there. Same thing, we're losing it. It's failing on the bottom side there. And then we've got some pretty heavy deformation on that bushing as well as the isolator. So I called back up. Unfortunately, it's about 35-40 minutes away, but I called up to my supplier, which is Michigan Truck Spring. Really good guys, really, they're just a great operation up there. And they sell nationwide, so if you ever want to order anything from them, you guys probably see them on search results, and they just happen to be, you know, like say 35 minutes from my house. But they've got a bushing kit sitting there with new pins, new roll pins for them, new plastic bushings and new rubber isolators. So it's $38, and there's a no-brainer. There's no reason not to put that on right now while we got this thing apart. So I'm gonna maybe do a little work, do a little disassembly, make sure I don't need anything else, and then I'm gonna hop in the truck and head up there and grab what I need, and because this is not a major crazy job, so I can have this back together this weekend and buttoned up and done and out of my barn. So I want to get those bushings. Okay, well, excuse me. She's disassembled and she's clean. It took about 10 minutes to disassemble it and about an hour and a half to clean it. But I think I've got, oh, did I miss a little chunk of grease right there? Yep, I sure did. Obviously this thing had, you know, 39 years worth of grease on it, and we've got most of that out. I don't see anything I'm bothered by. You know, a little bit of wear right there where the jaws ride, no big deal. No cracking, no spreading. You know, I guess I'll see once I put, you know, I can feel a little bit of wear right there where that main jaw rides, but nothing too crazy. I think most of the jaw was in the wear, the jaws, wow, take the gum out of my mouth here. I think most of the wear was in the jaws themselves, and then probably in hardware, you know, pins and cams and things like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead. My parts store is open till 11 p.m. and it's like 2:30 or something right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this just to be sure that there's nothing else oddball I might need. And then I'll just run up and get the new bushings and we'll be back in business. Okay, so I'll put a little section of the clip of the video from SAF Holland, but this yoke, this main yoke, if you slide it in here, you can see I've already got the jaws installed. I'll never see these, I haven't spread the pins yet, just in case. But if you slide the jaw in and it extends, you know, with the jaws closed, if it extends past more than whatever the measurement is, the end of these jaws here, you have to add material. And it says that's normal because of the wear on this plate right here. So it literally recommends building it up with weld and grinding it back down. So I've done that on the first side here. I'm gonna grind it smooth and flip it over to the other side, and we'll slide it back in and see what we got.
Hitch presents rebuild procedures for the Holland XA3501 and XA3601 series fifth wheel top plates. Trucking, it's the backbone of business. And a key part of every 18-wheeler on the highway is a dependable fifth wheel. It is common for the tips to extend too far beyond the ends of the locks. This is due to normal wear in the top plate. In this case, build up the outer surfaces of the yoke using a low hydrogen E70 welding rod. Then grind the beads smooth.
I'm better than I was. I'm by 1/8 of an inch or so. But what I checked is I'm supposed to have, a plug that simulates a fifth wheel pin. Right now, a kingpin. And I don't have it. I didn't buy it. So that's supposed to hold those jaws at exactly 2 inches. I mic'd them. They're at 1.915 right now. They're a little bit tight. So therefore, if those spread just a little bit, it would be pushing that back out. So I've built that up a decent amount, more than, as much as I want to do. I don't want to go anymore. I don't want to end up having it not be able to close properly. So we're going to leave it right where it's at.
Okay, well, boom goes the dynamite. She's done. Or just about done, I should say. Everything went together pretty well, to be honest with you. Thank goodness for all the videos SKF Holland or SAF, whatever it is, SAF Holland has on their website. It was very helpful. And actually, the one I found for this particular hitch is old enough that it's probably on there still, but I didn't find it off of Holland's channel. It was on somebody else had posted it. Yeah. So a couple of things I want to point out. These Zerks for the mount bushings. This one on this side, probably from wear, had sealed the hole over, so I had to drill that a little bit. I ended up drilling that one out as well. You can kind of see it there. Just to make sure it had a good port, but got that all cleaned out, heated up, all the old junk grease out, fresh Zerks on both sides, so those are ready. I'm going to pre-lube this hitch a little bit, and then obviously we'll grease it up too, and we'll pre-lube, the stop of the steel on the other side as well. It's not supposed to actually ride on that. The bushing is supposed to take the weight, but, over time, we'll see what happens. I've lubed everything. I really like this stuff. I picked this up last year. It's the Lucas product, fifth wheel and slider lube. It is super tacky. That whole clean and easy, no mess BS. But I decided to use that on the cam and all the wear points here. So that's all lubed up. I am going to shoot some I'm going to shoot a little paint on this, little rattle can. And then after that's set up, before I mount it back on the truck, I'll put probably some fluid film on some of the other just, the wear point, like where the spring locks are, and just some points that didn't call for never sees. Called for never sees on the, expressly called out in the video, you must use silver never sees. Well, I don't have silver never sees. I have copper anti-seize, so that's what got used on the jaw pins. Everywhere else it called for just they called it a light oil in the video, so I use this fifth wheel lube. So, well, that being said, it's a good opportunity for me to get some paint on this. Then I'm going to hop in the truck, run up, and get those bushings I need so that tomorrow I can put this thing back on, and we'll have to be able to relax and not have to worry about this thing ever again. So I'm going to get after it, shooting some paint, and go in the house and change out of my greasy clothes so I don't grease up my truck, and poof, from the magic of TV, you guys are going to be tomorrow. All right, it's the next day, and there we have it. Completely installed, new bushings, new pins, nice and tight. Everything on the whole hitch is nice and tight now. Nice and shiny and clean too. Grease the mounts. That took like a tube of grease, but they're nice and flowing out now. And we re-greased the plate just because that trailer was a little dry, so it ate a lot of the grease I just put on. So short of rehooking and just double checking that adjustment on the screw there the first time, we're done. All new hardware, ready to safely and stress-free able to tow. All right, that's that. The hitch is back on. It's rebuilt, as you just saw, and there's not very many things that I count in this, I was gonna say line of work. It's really a hobby, but it's also a lot of work. But there's not very many things you can count as a complete success. And honestly, I would say that's a complete success. I'm not unhappy in any way, shape, or form, other than the cost. there's no getting around that, guys. This is an expensive hobby. It's a fun one, and it's very gratifying, but it's extremely expensive. So we're $746 into that project, not counting the grease, not counting the time. But peace of mind, we don't have to worry about that. For what the miles I'm gonna put on that fifth wheel, that thing is rebuilt for life. It's done. And we can feel confident every time we hook up to a trailer. So I'm great with that. That's a success in my book. And you know, no screwed up parts, no, I don't know, it's kind of right, it's kind of not right. It's perfect. So as always, I appreciate the heck out of you guys watching. I am still blown away by the fact that there's more people besides me that enjoy this kind of stuff and working on this kind of stuff and seeing it happen. So thanks for being a part of watching it take shape, and I'll catch you on the next one.